What up? This is your boy Checo.
This is your boy Noe. What up?
And this is Compas Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. Make sure you guys follow all of our social media, subscribe and like.
And make sure you go rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you drop a comment on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the episode. Times where I feel like I don't feel my age, right? Like I don't feel like I'm 36 until 37. I feel like I'm like in my mid-20s still. Pero
mentally, you feel that way.
Mentally, no, yeah. My knees say otherwise. You know what I mean? They're like, calm the fuck down.
Otro día estaba dormido y I was like, ¿por qué me duele la rodilla? I wasn't like sleeping weird. I was like, ay, güey, me duele. Like a pain.
What would be sleeping weird though? Like,
yeah, compadre.
A veces me cuelgo la pierna del colchón.
He's like literally falling out of the mattress and he's sleeping.
Yeah. That's like when you're hot type shit, like one leg's out, you know?
Like a dog.
Like a dog.
Yeah, for real.
Then you wonder why your knee's hurting, bro. So are we chavorrucos already, bro? Or no?
Huh?
Are we chavorrucos already?
That's 40.
That's 40?
That's 40, no?
I don't know.
When your knees hurt, fool.
Chavorruco,
Yeah,
I thought it was like
close.
somebody that's trying to act young. Huh?
I think we're there, bro. I don't think we see it like that.
Yeah.
I think probably other people see us like that. Because we were talking about this the other day también. And to me, it was like the first time someone called me like señor. I was in my like mid-20s. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I still
How do you guys feel that as guys? Like, well, us as girls, like, that hurts. Like, when we say señora, and we're like,
Doña.
señorita, you know? Like
Yeah.
señora.
Well, I mean, I felt some type of way for sure. Like, I was kind of like, I'm just not that old yet. But then I'm like, fuck, maybe we are.
I just tell my wife, like, yo, like, you're that lady that takes her kids to school. You know, you're
The
like,
mom?
you're that lady, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. I
that's how
think
you
we're
would-
there, but we don't feel it either.
Yeah.
But at times, you know, our body says, yeah, you are old.
Pero like I was looking at videos, los grabé. And están mis primos en México, like a home video. Y luego my aunts have been older than maybe like...
Than what you think you look?
Yeah.
I mean, Mexico's a rough life, though. I feel like people age a little bit quicker over there, I think, personally.
Yeah.
Because of the
the
lifestyle,
sun.
because of...
I think the lifestyle's a little harder, the sun.
Like
That's the opposite of what you said last time, fool.
Hey, man, that's just what I'm saying. When I go back, I feel like people do age a little bit quicker, it seems like. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it is a life, too. I don't know. But then they live like... Well, you think they live stress-free because when we go, we're like, oh, this is stress-free, but we're on vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's facts.
But now I think like maybe they are just as stressed as we are sometimes. I don't know. What do you think? People age quicker over there or no?
I don't think they age quicker.
No? Or different?
No. I don't know about... I think, you know what?
Maybe
if
them.
anything is... I think because of the sun way,
Yeah.
but maybe not the lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel like it's calmer over there. Well, at least every time I've gone to Mexico.
Well, that's how Noe described it. Like, it's a lot more calm, like stress-free.
Like the fact that they have like times where they get to go home.
On their like
from,
a break?
from their breaks. Like, that's awesome. Like, if we had that here, that would be nice.
But we'd be stressed out because we have to go back. We'd be like, damn it.
And then we only get, half hour, an hour, depending on where your job is.
Mm-hmm.
Over there in Mexico, I know it's like from, at least depending on the town, right? At least with us,
Se pueden ir a
it's
dormir
like
en la
from,
casa.
yeah, it's like from 12 to like 2. Like, everything's closed.
Yep.
You know? Algo así. I don't know the exact hour.
Yeah.
Yo tenía un primo que llegaba y comía y se dormía una media hora y luego se
Y
iba.
así va para atrás.
No siesta.
But to go back to what you said, though, you see yourself young, but you don't really know what other people see you as.
Y ahora pues ya tengo más gray hair. Like, damn.
Like you might see somebody that hasn't seen you in a year and they're like, damn, this fool, ya es señor. You know what I mean? I feel like that's me all the time now.
I feel like that too. My aunt told my mom one day,
Damn, viejo Checo.
she was like, oh, like, I haven't seen Checo in years. It's like, nah, I saw him. Like, damn, he's a fucking señor. Like, he ain't. And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. You know, like, well, I guess she envisioned the 12-year-old me when, you know, she last saw me or whatever. And like, now she saw me and I was like in my 30s. And she's like, damn, he grown as hell, you know? Like,
I mean, nothing hurts more than seeing pictures from when we were partying in our 20s, bro. Like, damn, we look young.
I don't even think we have to go that far back, bro. I just go back a couple of years and I'll be like, damn, I did look younger way. Like,
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just me, though. But the nap didn't help, bro. I thought it was going to rejuvenate me, and it didn't do shit. I woke up. I was
How long
like,
did you sleep for?
That's also I know. I think like about an hour and a half.
I think you overdid it, bro.
And he said I overdid it.
I feel like sometimes when you overnap, you feel like that.
Then you get more tired, right?
More tired, yeah.
Going back to that sleep thing, I think you do a little bit of REM sleep when you're not supposed to, and then it messes
That's
you up.
facts because in my little nap, I was going into the REM.
Yeah.
How do
I
you
was
know?
going into REM. You have a dream.
Oh.
When you have a dream, that's when you go into REM.
Because it happens to kids too, bro. Sometimes they take a nap in the car and they get off and they're like super pumped. And then sometimes they wake up and they're super crabby. They went into that. They was too much.
Into a deep sleep, and then they got woken up. Yeah,
Exactly. So it happens.
I think that's probably what happened to me then.
Okay, I've been taking the anxiety pill.
Whoa, I didn't know this.
No?
Yeah.
You don't know Compas?
Like, where do they sell it?
In the pharmacy.
Oh, shit. This is like prescribed.
See,
No, I didn't know. I had no idea.
I gotta take it for a year at least, no? I'll go
Yeah.
for a long time. I can't ease off either. I have to I can't take it. I mean, I can't stop taking it. Así de un día para otro.
Have you noticed a difference?
Poquito. Little bit. I think ahora que when we're gonna play Saturday, pues tengo que ver
How it's going to be.
yeah.
What is it called? If you don't mind me asking. I don't know if you want to.
Se llama Lexo Prem, pero tiene otro nombre largo.
Oh, I didn't know. I had
you
no
don't
idea.
Ya me empezó a dar anxiety cuando manejaba.
Like you was tweaking out?
I was like, oh shit, I started panicking.
Been the
Pero antes me daba,
driving.
me daba, pero it was not as bad, como ahora. Pero también pues estaba así manejando.
Jesus Christ. That's not
Is
a
that,
kiss.
is that our segue?
That's a segue right
Shot
there.
para los nervios.
Oh man, episode 100.
Episode 100.
Welcome to Compas Unfiltered, Jose and Mayra. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Of course. A quick announcement, and we're doing a raffle. I can't announce the winner yet, just because we're pre-recording, right? Pero I'll either attach it to the end of this the episode, or I don't know. I think we have to go live, bro. That way people don't think that we're fixing. Yeah. But Oh no, it's too late now. But all you had to do was just had to take a screenshot of rating us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give us those 5 stars, and that's how you would have entered the raffle for a free Compas Unfiltered jersey. And as you guys know and listen to the pod, that we have we're all over the place when it comes to our topics and our episodes. We go from kicking it with friends, just bullshitting, to very serious topics. This is one of those where we're gonna be a little bit more serious. Because I didn't know how to segue into it. I'm like, man, how do we go from talking about getting old and to going into Jose and Mayra? But Jose was actually already on the pod, and he came on and talked about his alcohol abuse and drug addiction. Which, how long have you been sober now, bro?
Pues got out of rehab in
2019?
Ya van 4. What year are we in? 23?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So you're going on to 4 years.
Yeah.
Of being sober. That's what's up, bro. Congrats on that, bro.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
huge.
It's a battle, it's every day. And Jose plays with me. He plays in Cristalera. He plays Tarolas. And when I found out about your what you were going through, bro, and that you were actually going through rehab, I felt guilty as fuck, trying to drink in front of you. I would try to stick to water and whatnot, but I don't know how you feel about
Tan
that,
peores
bro.
los clientes. Nah, but no.
Like when you see us drink, we don't offer you anything, but
Pues I don't feel nada. It's como si cuando me ofrece pan, no, químatelo tú.
he does though. He'd be like, here, Checo. I'm like, damn, what's up?
Oh, no, actually, me dan la cerveza, I'll accept it, and then I'll slide it to Checo, I'll slide it to
Or
Somebody.
Charlie
es
or
que-
whoever else, yeah.
Ya sé que van a empezar a chingar que agua.
Drunk people.
Yeah, they look at me weird, nah.
I feel like I try to incorporate this guy now because we're usually together. If we're taking a shot, I know he's having a water, hey, shot, cheers,
No, a veces les digo, no, ahorita no. Cuando me
Instead
dicen,
of separating him, oh, he's not drinking, let's take a shot over here. I don't know. That's just me. I never try to stop. I didn't feel guilty either, compadre. I'm sorry, bro.
pero
I'm not that good of a friend.
pero a veces I do feel left out, todos están en la bolita.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. About I'm like, don't you feel like on Sundays, like when everybody's drinking or we have a family party or something, I'm like, no te da como ganas como for my brother's birthday, simply del ambiente de la música and like being in that atmosphere. I'm like, no te da ganas like to like be in there with everybody, you know?
Not the
How it
drinking,
was
but I want to
before.
be a part of it. Like,
So I'm doing
Just
good
part
by
of the
saying
group.
cheers.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you can do one and you'll be fine, or is that like just completely out of the
no,
question?
I think
Not that I encourage you to take one or
No,
anything
but
like
that's
that,
like-
but
no creo. I think just the real honest no, porque luego it's like when you like say you're gonna diet. I mean, like, comer poquito pan or have a cheat day here and then. But then te da más confianza que, I did it once, I'll do it again. It's como a little snowball effect se va yendo grande.
so you'd rather not.
No.
Okay. All right. That's always been in the back of my mind, bro. Like, maybe you'll be okay with just one or whatever. Maybe one beer, one shot, whatever it might be, right? But like I said, I never wanted to initiate it. I never wanted to be like, hey, just one, bro. Like, which I haven't. You can say I haven't done that, bro. But Mayra, we want to get to know. We heard Jose's story. I don't even know what episode, but I'll probably put it up. And how you went, or what was your experience going through when he was going through? As far as like, did you notice it right away? Was it something that you noticed like while you guys were dating? Like you didn't notice until you guys moved in? I mean, how was it for you?
I honestly did not know because I think when we were dating, it was very. We were always going out to dates and we were drinking together. So it was very like, we go to a bar, watch a game, and we're drinking. We go out just to dinner and we were drinking together. But it was very like casual drinking. So it was never.
Sometimes we drank heavy.
Sí, pero
No, not heavy.
there was like a few times, just a few.
Not
times.
heavy, like my heavy. Like,
Yeah.
we got like
But-
tipsy.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
That was funny.
There
Put
was
you on blast and shit.
There was a few times que sí, que we did drink a little bit more than what it was, but I never got to see that side of him. I think there was only one time that I could really recall. I think it was at Marcos and Sandra's
no, you guys were
wedding.
there.
Yeah, you and Fabi went with us to that wedding in on
St. Charles.
Randall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that day he got really drunk. Because I
Me
remember.
iba pisteando.
Yeah,
I
he was
drinking.
already drinking.
I was drinking the whole day, but I was like tranquilito.
So that was like your first time seeing him. Like, okay, this is not normal, or like,
I think I had never seen that side of him, so it was just like, to me, I think I took it as like he's just having a good time at that party, like I got a little bit out of hand type of thing. I didn't look at it as something bad. I think.
And at this point, you guys are just dating, right? We
were just dating.
Right.
Yeah, and then I think after once we got married, so I never really got to see that side of him when we were dating. Besides, I think just like that time or whenever we would drink a little heavier together or whatever, but no, I never saw that. So then whenever we got married, I started seeing como al pasito, I would find stuff. He would hide stuff from me. So I'm like, I would find like beer cans shoved in the closet, or I would find stuff like just abajo, like maybe he was like drinking and he shoved it underneath the couch or something so I wouldn't see. In the cars, right? I feel like it's like slowly started to find stuff.
Donde quiera lo chava.
And at that point, did it raise any flags as far as like this might be an issue, or was it just?
You know what? No, because I think I was so busy. I was so busy being a new wife. I was so busy with working full time because I was working full time at that time. So I'm like working full time, being like doing the house stuff, and then Manny was born, and then Daddy was even more occupied. Being new parents and adjusting to the schedule. So even if he drank really heavily, I don't think I would have took it wrong because I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just here and there type of thing. I think whenever I started noticing it more was when he would be like, I was never very, to be like on him, like, oh, where are you? Like, what are you going to do? Like, he'd be like, hey, I'm going to go out for drinks with my friend, or I'm going to go out for drinks with my brother. I'm going to go to this. I'm like, okay, go. I was like, okay, because I was so busy that it didn't bother me for him to go out and have a good time with his friends too, So then I felt like whenever, like he was starting to like toda la noche se desvelaba and then le seguía the next morning. And I think in the podcast he actually talked about whenever one of the first times he like punched a wall or something. I was like sleeping. I was like, what is going on? And he like was like out. Like he like blacked himself out. And I was like, what was that? But then I didn't think anything of it either because I was like, okay, it was the first time I had seen him like that. So then it happened again like a few weeks after. And I was like, okay, this is weird. But I mean, I just kind of didn't really think much of it.
Were you trying? You feel like you were trying to like not believe it, like kind of mentally telling yourself like, nah, this ain't happening to me.
Yeah, and I know in some ways, see, because I was like, well, that's not the person that I married. Like the person that I got to know, the person that, you know, I just never had met that person. So I'm like, who is this person? Ya ves que siempre dicen, oh, cuando te casas and you live with your other half, like that's when you really get to know that person. Mm-hmm. And I never got to see that side of him when we were dating. So I was like, okay, so I didn't really think much of it. I'm trying to think like when I actually...
Pues una vez, I don't know, cuando llegó la policía, I was like doing something. I was drinking and me fui al carro a pistear.
And the cops.
Y luego algo, yeah, I think the cops called the cops y luego me estaban preguntando que where I live. Like, oh, I live right there. Y ya me subieron y me vio ya todo.
And you were intoxicated at that point.
Yeah, they're like, does he live here? I'm like, yep, he lives here.
Was that embarrassing to you?
Yeah, I think the second time that happened, it was more embarrassing because of the way it happened. But that time, so let's go back to that time, because that time I remember that's when I found out that it wasn't just alcohol. Like that's when I found out that it was more than just alcohol. So that's when I found the cocaine. So that's when I was like, okay. And I remember that day I was already mad. So I was like digging through stuff. Because I was like, something else has to be going on. Because there's just no way that he's staying up all night. There's just no way that he's partying for days. And, you know, it got to be too much. So I was like, that's when I found that. And I remember texting him. He was at work. And I was like, te dije que I had found something, right? I don't remember. I don't
know if you told me in person or in text, me acuerdo.
Yeah, I think I had texted you. And then I told him, I was like, oh, like, he wanted it back. Like, he was like telling me, like,
I'll sell it.
Like, yeah,
give it to me so I could sell it.
Give it back to me so I could sell it. And I was like, I ain't giving you nothing back. Like, I already flushed that down the toilet. And he was pissed because it was a lot. Like, it wasn't like a small quantity of cocaine. Like, it was a big quantity of cocaine. Yeah, I knew.
No, I think I heard more porque apenas la había comprado.
This guy.
Yeah,
you at this point, you're not even worried about like losing your family or anything, or you guys aren't even talking like that yet.
No, I think it's like just the beginning of the recent like the rise of like her finding out stuff.
Yeah, so I think this is when I'm like everything's kind of like uncovering itself. Yeah, this was I think whenever. Sorry, did you?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, this was I think whenever that happened, that the cops brought him and I found the cocaine. I was like, okay, that to me was like. Okay, my eyes were open. So now after that, I was being more cautious of what he was doing. I was being more cautious of who he was going out with, who he was bringing into the house.
Es que we live by a bar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, me iba caminando. Like, I mean, I would go así, we would go dating, or when we lived together. Mm-hmm. Fuimos a couple of times, pero we had a couple of beers. Yeah, came back. But then, like, yeah, there was all those times que me hablaban mis amigos, hey, let's go to that bar. And iba y ya me venía hasta que se cerraba las 2. Ya venía todo, like, wobbly. And then she would find me. Or maybe le seguía, ¿no?
I think le seguías at the house.
I had beer at the house. Le seguía.
Sometimes you would actually bring people over afterwards. So then I felt embarrassed to have to be like, get out of my house. It's 2 a.m., you know, or whatever. And pues Manny estaba chiquito at the time. And I was, like I said, I was still kind of focused on work. And then I think after Manny's surgery was whenever I stopped working. And then I got to see a lot more of the hiding and a lot more of that. That started opening up more.
Creo me dio más confianza, like.
To be yourself?
Yeah, como que se fue mejor la vergüenza o algo se... Porque
you got comfortable.
Yeah,
you got comfortable really for sure.
So after that police thing, that being naive, that went away.
Yeah. I think after I found the drugs, to me that was like the big thing because I was like, okay, was the drinking like I didn't see it as a problem yet, like as like an addiction problem yet, hasta después. I just saw it as like, oh, he's drinking heavily. I'm like, maybe something's going on in his life. Maybe I'm not, I'm not being a good wife to him, or I don't know. Like, I just kept thinking a lot of things. So I was like, maybe there's just, I'm working too much, or I'm not paying attention to him too much, that this is what he's doing, So I didn't think much of it at that point.
And that's definitely a thing where I feel like a lot of women blame themselves first, instead of like directly to him. And then there's people obviously who grow up with it in the family, not per se your dad or anything like that, but they see it, so they think it's normal. So it doesn't really raise any flags, doesn't really raise any concerns until, if something serious does happen. But for you, like, when was it where you're like, ya te pasaste? Like, now we need to have that talk. Like, now it's more than just once in a while type of thing, like maybe after that second time with the police, was that when you were like, okay, we need to probably sit down and have a conversation? Because I'm assuming there was probably multiple conversations before he decided to go to rehab.
Yeah. I think after we moved to the apartment where we're living now, where his dad, I think there it got even more out of hand. Like, that's where it was like, it was like descaradamente, it was like out in the open. Like, he had no shame on it.
No shame in this game.
And I think that's when where I became a very toxic wife to him. And I always tell them, like I was this person that I was like, who are you? Like, I was not happy with myself. I was not happy the way that I was with him. And if I feel like when you're not okay yourself, how are you okay with everybody else, And I had my kids, so I was like, okay, I still had to be a mom. And that was the hard part, I think, to be a mom and to be dealing with my husband's problem at that time.
What do you mean by you were being toxic, though? Like, what were you doing that you think you were being toxic?
So I think I was being toxic in the form that I didn't know what addiction was. So I was, and you have to understand, you have to educate yourself, I think, and understand what addiction is to be able to help the person that you love. Because, like, I'll give you an example. He would be like, I'm going to go. Like, we would go out on a Sunday and you guys were already drinking. He would come home, or sometimes not even on our way home, he would be like, let's stop by and get beer. And I'm like, no. Like, I was already like pissed that he was already drinking at my parents'. So I was like, no. And he would be like, let's stop by and get beer. So we would have to stop by and get beer. So he would stop by, get beer, and then he would finish that at home. So I'm like, okay, he's just going to be drinking at home. So I'd rather have him home and not outside, like drinking out in a bar or something. So then he would be like, I want more beer. It's only like 9 or 10 o'clock. Like, I need more beer. And I'm like, no, like, yeah, no, So I would became so toxic to the point that I would would put myself on the door, like, you're not going anywhere. And that would become a conflict between us, because then it's like, well, he's going to leave. Like, no matter whatever I did, he was going to walk out that door. So that to me was like the toxic part.
I wouldn't call that toxic, though, because I think you were within reason. I mean, you love someone and you don't want to see them hurt themselves more. And you're probably, I mean, at least myself, I would think that you're probably think of the scenarios of him going back out, getting more liquor. I don't know if he was driving or not. I don't know if he was walking.
Sometimes,
but so we live by a liquor store, pero cerraban a las 9.
So, I mean, if he's driving, not only the harm to himself, harm to anybody else.
Yeah.
And obviously the alcohol to harm to keep harming himself. So I don't think you were toxic. I think you were within reason.
You could have, maybe at that time, you could have like, pues, ya, quítate ahí la puerta, or like, give me my keys, or, like, porque sí, there was times que, like, ya estaba desesperado para irme, like.
Yeah, like,
but there was never a time that you won. It was like, because you just said it, like, he was going to leave regardless. I think that's what she's trying to say, is like, no matter what she did, he was going to do.
Oh, yeah, I get that point. But I'm saying the toxic part, to me, that's within reason.
And I see, like, even the fact that I would be like, he would be like, oh, I'm going to stop by a Walmart. Like, no, you're not going to stop by a Walmart. Like, I'm checking the bank account. You're at the liquor store buying, like, that to me, is toxic. Like, I shouldn't have to desconfiar de él. If he's going to tell me he's going to go to Walmart, he's going to go to Walmart. Like, like, I shouldn't have to check my bank account to see where he is, or his Snapchat.
Because at that point, you were hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Así como chequeaba eso, like, I would find ways, like, I wouldn't go to a liquor store and put the card porque iba a decir liquor store or whatever.
Yeah.
O si iba a la Jewel, pues ahí iba a la liquor store, compraba lo que compraba, and then I would buy my stuff. Or pues con cash, así para que no me viera, pero todos ya llegaban smelling or, like...
Now, at this point, so everything escalated. Yeah, he was out in the open with it. So this is constant drinking, morning, day, whatever. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was
drinking
all
all
the
the time. So at this point, like, did you get kind of like, oh, okay, well, this is what's going to happen? Because it took a while before anybody in the family found out, like, that he was struggling with an addiction problem.
You would talk to my mom, no?
The only one that I was really open with was his mom because his mom, I mean, yeah, she had gone through it with him,
Living with my parents.
So she knew.
Yeah, so she knew. I was like, whenever anything would happen, I would be like, look, he hasn't come home in 2 days. Like, we need to find him. Or he hasn't come home and, like, ya se fue, no sé dónde se fue, And he was like, because see him on Snapchat, he's like bar hopping everywhere in the city. Or I'm like, so I was like, we were trying to keep up with him, but so there was times where we couldn't keep up with him. So I needed somebody to help me with him because I couldn't do it by myself. And I didn't want to have to tell my family, like, I didn't want to tell my mom or my dad or my sister or anybody, like, hey, like, this is going on in my life.
Was that even harder to carry that because you couldn't get the help or the support from your own family?
See.
So it made it more difficult for you just within itself.
Yeah. Sorry.
I remember a couple of times, like Sundays, like there were times where we agreed, like, okay, you're gonna stay at your parents, and she was gonna stay with Manny in la casa, in el apartamento, and she would visit me and my parents and bring Manny, and then like, oh, you're gonna come with me to visit my parents, like, and he's like, no, because I was probably drinking during that time too. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like,
There
no.
was times where we would get invited to parties, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna tell him because I already know. I already know what my party's gonna look like before and after. So I'm like, I'd rather just not go.
So what were you afraid of though? Were you afraid of the embarrassment because he was always going to get so fucked up? Or were you afraid of what was going to happen at home?
I think the home part, because I never, because when we had parties, I tried to stay at the pace que everybody was drinking. Ya cuando, I think it was like, cuando íbamos para la casa, like, she had to deal with me.
Like, really bad, yeah. And nobody ever got to see that besides me and your mom, probably. So everybody was pretty much clueless of what was going on in their lives during that time. And that time that the police came, I think you were already gone for a few days that time. And I remember his mom had been looking for him. Like, yeah, tenía like days looking for him. We could not find his car. We could not get a hold of him at all with nobody. Y me acuerdo que one of my family members, I don't want to say his name, but he texted me and he was like, hey, is Jose okay? And I was like, yeah, I was like trying to play. I was like, yeah, I'm like, he's fine. It's like, oh, it's because lo vi in so-and-so place and he didn't look good. And I was like, yeah, no, todo bien, So I was like, I kind of just tried not for anybody else to know what was going on. And then that's kind of donde nos dimos cuenta where he was because of that text that I received. But he would get lost for days sometimes, or sometimes weeks. Like
Weeks?
See, like a week and a half, or
a weekend.
They would just
No me
continue.
acuerdo.
But yeah, you were lit. Fool. Hey, he did a good job. He didn't have me on Snapchat though, because I didn't see none of the bar hopping. I honestly, I was clueless. I don't know if you were, compa. You would see him more often, but
No, I was not.
you knew.
Yeah.
Y,
I knew.
y yo la neta, yo no sabía like that he had an addiction. I mean, I knew he would get drunk and then he'd get a little wild, and then kind of became a routine for him, like something that would happen all the time.
Yeah.
So, but that's pretty much where I kind of like, this fool gets fucked up, And
That was that guy, yeah. Okay.
you were that dude, and I wasn't really like hanging out with a compadre like that, because of that too. Like I wasn't a fan of that. So, but I never thought like you guys were having issues at home or like that you were dealing with his addiction as well. What I got to see was the way you were treating him when we would be at your parents on Sundays.
The mean wife.
Yeah, it was like, damn, like something's not right,
Yeah.
And I remember like mentioning it to your sister, and she's like, yeah, I don't know. Well, nobody knew.
Yeah, I remember my Disney prima nomás me decía, like, you don't have to tell me anything. Like, I could see that stuff's not right between you guys, you know?
Oh, you were
But it
very
was
direct.
never-
You were
yeah.
very blunt with him. It was very like short answered, and I mean, you could tell that there was issues or that something was going on. But I mean, to me, it never crossed my mind that it was alcohol or because we, like you said, we never got to see him do that on Sunday. Yeah, he would start drinking, and he's probably the only one that would keep drinking, probably because we kind of stopped. But
Eso es lo que se me hacía weird. Like, ¿para qué no quieren sentar?
¿qué no le siguen estos compas?
Toman 3, 4 y then you can switch to coffee. And it's like... Y luego a veces, like...
That'll get you mad. You're like, I'm not coming here anymore.
Miraba, like... A ver quién salía para... Es que mi suegro trae... Like, he'll go outside and trae para todos. Like, y cuando salía, like, miraba a ver si trae otra ronda. Pero I was like... Me decía... No comprendía, like... ¿Por qué, like... And then se las tomaba bien despacio. Like,
You're disappointed in us, bro.
was like,
I'm sorry we let you down, dog. What you got?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, the one time that we talked about, right? I think recently we had talked about, there was like 2 things that were like, I think a breaking point for myself. But I think one of them was probably the one that I'm like, was the worst for me was, so this one's a little bit more personal for me, but it's one time I went to work and I came home and he was like blacked out, and he was taking care of Manny. And Manny was probably, he was little.
3, no?
Como 3 o 2 por ahí. Yeah, estaba chiquito. But he was sleeping, but I'm like, okay, who's taking care of who, you know? Like, Manny wakes up, like, you're blacked out, like, who's watching him? He could walk out the door. He's 3 years old. He knows how to open the door, you know? He knows how to go mess with, you know, like, si lo deja uno, pues se hacen travesuras, you know? So I'm like, who's watching him? So I got home and he was blacked out. And I remember, like, trying to get him up, and I was like, hey, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, trying to wake him up. And when he finally, like, got up a little bit, ¿sabe qué dijo? Me dijo algo. And then he just, like threw up everywhere. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, now I have to deal with this, you know? But then I was like, how did he get so drunk so quick? Because I was only gone for like maybe 4 or 5 hours. And I found him, that was like probably the biggest bottle I have ever found. It was like a big Fireball, one of these big, humongous, like limited edition Fireball bottles, right?
Yeah.
It was huge. It was like this big old thing. Y nomás le faltaba like this much. And I was like, there's no way that he drank that whole thing in that little amount of time.
But you did.
But he did.
I guess.
But you were chasing that drunk stage. Like, it wasn't even about enjoying like the drinking part. You were like already
Yo creo
chasing that.
es que yo le quería ganar a ella antes que llegara, like.
Oh.
Es que se iba, and then I would take like 2 big gulps, and then like I would just chill, and then I would do coke. So I would do coke and se me subía. So para bajarme la tomaba más. So it was kind of like there was no point to me like trying to be here porque a veces ya cuando llegaba estaba tipsy or ni la miraba porque no quería que me oliera ni me mirara los ojos. But then there was times que it would just get out of control, like that time. So it could depend on the day que estaba tomando, like if it got out of control or if it was just, I was chilling. Because there was times que sí tomaba, pero tranquilo. Or she didn't notice que estaba all
I
fucked
remember
up.
that day though, I was like sitting there cleaning up his throw up, and I was like, this is gonna be my life. This is gonna be what I'm gonna have to live with the rest of my life. Like, and then that's when I was like, he needs help. Like, I can't help him. There's only so much I can do.
So respectfully, I think at that point, I think some women probably would have left. It would have been over with.
He always told me, he's like, I think I would have left a long time ago.
I would have left myself. I was a girl.
What made you stay?
I think just that I loved him, that I cared about him, that I wanted my son to have a dad, to have a family together. Like, I see my parents together, I see his parents together. Like, I wanted that. Like, I didn't want my son to be by himself. I wanted him to have his dad. But in my mind, I thought that he was going to change like that. Like, he's going to change because of our son. He's going to change because he loves our marriage so much. Like, but no matter what I did, it was pushing him more away. And no matter what his mom did, it was pushing him more away into drinking.
Pues sí, porque, like, no me dejaban tomar. So, I was like, pues, le buscaba pleitos, like, o a veces me decía, pues, get out of here. Y sí, like, I would feel
like,
bad.
Yeah, I would kick him out
I was
sometimes.
like, yeah.
What was the alternatives that you gave him though at that point? Like when you realized, so that was one of the times you said that kind of, you kind of woke up and you're like, dude, I can't do this, right?
can't, yeah.
What was the second one, and like, what alternatives did you give him?
Do you want to talk about the second one? Sorry, that one we were both
It's kind of
like,
personal.
That one was very personal, yeah. It was very personal, but I mean, I feel like a lot of couples go through stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? I'll let you talk about that one a little bit.
I mean, if you guys want to,
Yeah,
you don't have to. You don't.
So what were the alternatives? What was like the thing that you would tell him to be like, yo, dude, like, o reaccionas, o me voy, o te vas, o qué eran las alternativas que le dabas tú para que dijera, okay, a ver si despierta, o...
I think no matter what I told him, compadre, no matter what I did, he was not going to change because he was not ready. Y ya la última vez that I was like, all right, yeah, like, I'm done. He's like, le dije, okay, I found this place. I'm like, I looked for so many places, because it's so hard to find a place. And we found the first place we found, it was like in the city. It was like in the middle of like the ghetto. I was like, me and my circle were like, do we really want to send him there? Like, that's kind of scary. Like, we don't know where he's going. We're literally leaving him there. And we don't know any of the surroundings. We're like, I'm like, I didn't feel comfortable. So then I found another place, and they finally replied back, and they said that they had a spot for him, that if he wanted to come in, like they would have a spot for him at a certain date, that he would have to come in, but he had to willingly come in himself. And that was the hard part, is that he had to be like, yeah, I'm going to go. So that's when I was like, I talked to his mom, we talked to his dad, we talked to, like, everybody kind of just talked to him and was like, hey, like, you have a problem. Like, you need to get some help.
Pero este era un lugar adentro, like, where...
Yeah, he had to go stay there.
Because we tried doing like, con un therapist. We did like it was fuera una escuela, like, where other people had problems too, like alcohol or drugs, or court mandated. Y iba, pero then no me gustó, and then a veces de ese salía y me iba a comprar, like, my liquor just to get that fix, like, nah. Pero esta era diferente porque I had to go there, I had to ir lo que eran los 28 días y pues I wasn't ready, but I was like, I'll try it, a ver qué, you know, like, it wasn't like que yo iba...
He was not ready because that day he was drunk.
Me fui, pisteé the day before, and I think I was drinking on the way there a little bit.
Jesus.
I remember he got there that day, in the morning that he was going to leave. He got there and he was drunk when he walked in, and he's like, I'm not going. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, if you're not going, then you already know what's going to happen if you're not going. And his mom's like, no, he's going. And he left, and your brother was with you, right? I think
Yeah, my mom and my brother took me.
And I remember his mom told me on the way back, she was like, we had to stop by and get liquor, like, on our way there. Like, he was going to drink.
Till the last point.
Yeah, till the last drop, whatever he could drink of. Para ya no tomar again.
Even, todavía me sobró, like, I had a little bit of coke with me.
Jesus.
Not with me, but like, que me sobró from the day before.
This is where you contrabanding
y luego
coke into the place.
La guardé en la casa. Dije, cuando salga de aquí me la voy a... Like, I didn't think I was gonna sober up. Like,
Especially you told me where it was, right?
Sepan, pero dije...
Yeah, I think you did tell me. And I was like, I never found it, so I don't know where it is.
But I already had, like, I wasn't gonna make it. Dije, en caso que no jale, pues ya tengo mi...
Yeah, I got a question. How many interventions did you guys have before he actually went in?
But there was a...
Like, how many platicas with... Because, you said your mom got involved and everybody talked to him. Was that multiple times, or was that just like a one-time thing? Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, it was like very constant, but it was like, I knew he wasn't listening to me. I knew it was just more the hope that I had that one day he would be like, okay, I'm going to go get help. And for his mom, I think you had like several incidents, no? Like when she would go find you, or she would go...
Pues ella siempre me buscaba, like...
Yeah, she was always looking for him.
Like, if I got fucked up somewhere, like, lejos, ella iba por mí, like, a cualquier hora. wherever, like tocadas, vía por mí, I would leave the car and come get it the next day. Y creo por eso también me dio confianza to do it, because like, oh, I'll just get somebody to pick me up. Like, pues, my mom, sin querer, like, ella sin saber, más bien, like,
She was helping you.
she kind of, yeah, like, they call it, like, codependency, pues, like, que you're helping them. Like, she didn't want me to get hurt, so she's like, como que me complacía. Like, she would do anything for me.
100%.
And she kind of did it too. I mean,
Yeah, I
like,
did it too.
but no sabían, like,
Well, you just didn't know how to go about it, right? You don't know how to fix it, and you were trying everything possible, talking to him, probably regañándolo, le llorabas, lo que sea, and nothing was helping.
No.
So it was kind of like, helping in a way, the only way I can, the only way I know how to. It's like letting him kind of give him that little bit of freedom, but it's like hopefully he can still come home. Maybe he will later on change. But I mean, I'm glad obviously you got help. Obviously we're all talking like, ya pasó todo esto.
yeah.
And as far as like, so you took him that first time, right? He didn't want to go. Then you were drinking all the way to the last,
On the way to rehab.
and that you actually stood there that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, pues cuando me quedé, pues me duré como 3-4 días detoxing, según, like, they let you, like, either if you're too fucked up, te dan medicina, or I mean, they just let me sleep and sober up. And then, yeah, they intake you and they toman your information, and then, yeah, you start doing the classes and their curriculum que they do. Pero sí, like, I would see gente que ya tenía días o new people y los miraba y I was, like, scared. But it's a new world porque estás encerrado, no, you can't watch TV. You can watch TV in the morning y en la noche, like, 1 hour. So then there's no phone. The only communication then was payphones. Y hasta eso duré como, ya cuando I sobered up, duré como 4 días, like, 4 días para hablarle porque ya, like, como que estaba reaccionando and I was, like, emotional. Y dije, no, ahorita no, si le hablo me voy a poner a llorar. Pero sí, that was hard.
And how was it for you for those 4 days que he no se reportaba, no te hablaba? Like, what were you going through?
I think I was scared that he was gonna show back up at the house drunk. That was because when you go to any rehab or any place to go get help, they have the option of leaving. Like, they can walk out anytime they want.
No.
So I was more scared that he was gonna give up on himself. Like, I was like, I didn't want him to give up on himself because that meant he gave up on us. You know?
And it wasn't like he left like, hey guys, I'm gonna go do this for us. Yeah. Like, nah, he left and he was getting lit on the way there. So it wasn't a good feeling even when he left.
Es como un niño que regañan, vete a tu cuarto y no, you shut the door. That's basically what it was with me. Like, me llevaron llorando.
Now, at what point did you get your parents involved? Like, let them know? Did they ever have a talk with the compadre? Like, yo, like, you gotta straighten up.
We're supposed to go somewhere with them.
Oh, well, we were supposed to go to Wisconsin Dells when he was in
the weekend before.
Mm-hmm. No, that you were already in there, no?
Yeah, entré entre semana in that weekend.
Yeah.
Íbamos a ir.
So they never had an intervention with them or like had a talk with him like, hey, dude, like you gotta focus on the family or nothing like that.
No, because we actually, so whenever that one time that happened, the second thing that we don't really want to talk about, en ese tiempo nos dejamos a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was back at my parents'. So my parents, allí is the first time that they kind of knew about it. But then after that, it was like probably like a whole year, no? Because then we got back together and it was like a whole year where it kind of slowly tiptoed back.
¿Qué pasaba? Like,
but at that point, you told your parents everything. You're like, hey, this is what's been going on. He's got a problem. Or no, you were still trying to conceal it.
I didn't tell them everything, no. I've never really telling everybody like todo because I don't want them to view him like that. Like, I know he's not that person. You know, I know who I married, and I know that person that was drinking, that person that was stuck in this dark black hole because he was literally stuck in a hole. That was not him. And like, there was one time where I remember he doesn't remember this. He called me, like, it was late at night, and I remember that time I had like kicked him out. I was like mad because he was drinking. I kicked him out, and he called me, and he was like, and this was him like super drunk, blacked out, like he was not himself, and he was like, I need help. And I was like Like, what? Like, I thought he, like, physically needed help. Like, he fell or something, you know? I'm like, but his voice was like, no, like, I need help. And that, to me, was like, okay. Like, and right away, I was like, yeah, I'm going to help you, you know? But it was just that moment that he was like, he knew he needed help.
And it didn't transpire to be anything. It was just he felt it. He wanted to communicate it.
Yeah.
But at least he gave you hope and you didn't give up on him.
Remember. He's like, I don't remember that. I'm like, I remember that night because I was like,
right. It was a big moment.
That from him.
But I mean, like, for her to, like, take it to heart, because, like, if she was me, I would have, like, it's just somebody drunk saying shit, you know, like, talking, you know.
I feel like there's a point where you kind of can tell when somebody's saying some truthful shit, right, bro?
100%.
Like, you can
100%.
feel it. They say kids and drunk people always say the truth. I feel like there is some truth to
ella
that.
tiene más paciencia. Like, I'm like, yo estoy like, yeah, throw them to the garbage. You know, like.
All right.
And right now that you mentioned, like, kids, how was Manny through all this? Like, I think he was obviously very young, but I mean, man, the kids can remember, right?
Yeah,
certain things.
Like, not that he remembers a lot, but cuando he came back from rehab, and so he would go visit. We actually
él iba a rehab.
Yeah, but he didn't capture, like, we would just be like, oh, es que papi no se va a dormir aquí. Es que papi no se va. ¿Cuándo va a venir papi? So, like, that was really sad for me. Like, as a girl, you're like, oh my gosh, like, what do I tell my kid? You know, I can't keep lying to him and telling him that he's sleeping over at grandma's house because he's not at grandma's house. So, yeah, cuando, like, we would go visit his parents, and then, like, later on, he would just jokingly be like, "Ahora me voy a quedar con grandma, okay?" And he'd be like, no. And he was like it was like como un terror que tenía, like, that his dad wasn't gonna come home.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that affected him. Like, he was like, why is my dad? No, my dad can't stay there. Like, he's coming home with us. So, like, yo digo que sí le afectó en cierta forma.
Probably, it was maybe at that age que apenas estaba, ahorita, like, now you could probably go back and remember a little bit, but
I don't think he remembers too much.
Like seeing him drunk or him drinking all the time or anything like that.
I tried not to argue when he was awake. Like, anytime anything conflict-wise happened, he was already asleep. And maybe here and there he would see, like, como dijiste tú, like, que lo trataba mal or something, that would be like, no, or whatever, you know, or on our way back home, like, if he was like, I want to stop by and get liquor, like, I'm like, no, like, something like that. Pero usually any, like, big conflict that we had between each other, I always tried when he was already asleep. So he never really got to see that part. And I wouldn't want him to see that part either. Because that was really bad.
Yeah.
no, he didn't. I think that's probably, like, now looking back, it's like, it sounds bad, but, like, no me vio así, like como ahorita la edad que tiene él, pues yo creo I would have scared him, you know, I probably would have traumatized him. So, like,
yeah, for sure. Where was your parents at with it, bro? Like, I guess here's a question that maybe I should be asking. Like, what's your biggest regret, bro? Like, the fact that you're like, my mom was my enabler, she'd go pick me up, but, like, you were putting your mom through so much, bro, to go pick you up, or, like, where was your dad as a father figure for you? Like,
my dad, el más es lo que me decía, like, vas a perder tu familia, but también it would kind of remind me of, like, her, like, when she would tell me not to drink, like, no, se va a ir. Like, I would just blow it off, like, no. I would, and then, eso me hacía enojar, and I was like, no, I'm gonna drink.
Did you feel like she wasn't gonna leave? Did you kind of know deep inside, like, she ain't leaving?
Yo creo que sí, like, como, I felt like la tenía, like, it was, like, she was never gonna leave, like, porque como, I think you feel like that, not the machismo, but, like, pues, tiene mi niño, like, ¿quién la va a pelar así con un niño? Or, you know, like como muy confident.
We think about that too. Like, I'm like, I didn't want to be a single mom. Like, I didn't want to have to figure all that out on my own too. And, like, I didn't know if he was going to be sober or not sober. Would I have to be a mom and a dad to him? Like,
but the thing is the selfishness in guys también, like, que también, like, pues, she was a stay-at-home mom, so, like, ella no trabaja, ¿qué va a hacer, you know, like, at work? Like, it wasn't like I was making good money, but, like, in my head, that was the process, pues.
Like, she ain't got nowhere to go. She's got to stay.
Yeah, like, maybe she'll go to her parents, but, like, va a estar sola con el niño. Like, she's going to come back eventually. But that's the
That's
selfish.
ballsy, right?
Pues sí, like, y luego, pues digo, like,
Because I probably stayed for so long, you know, like that I dealt with so much that le dio la confidence of that.
it was,
Yeah, how long did this go for? What year did you guys get married?
2015,
So 15
But
all the
that-
way to 19.
15, 16.
pero yo creo fue, it was like the year after, cuando ya we moved to the, where we live now.
Is when it started.
It was when it was like
It was
that,
más,
yeah.
porque ya, digo, like every day salía a trabajar y me compraba mis little shot bottles de Fireball y me las tomaba en camino, and then ya me las escondía, se dormía. Like I would wait for her to sleep. I would party by myself.
What's your biggest regret, comadre, from that time lapse?
I think just not being educated on it, not knowing that there was nothing that I could do to change him. Like I feel like it wasn't because of me that he changed, because I gave him an ultimatum of I'm going to leave. I feel like himself, he had to get to a point where he was like, all right, I need to change my life, or else, you know, I'm gonna lose everything. Así como le dijo su dad, like he was gonna lose everything, because nobody was gonna deal with him that way, you know? His parents were gonna deal with him, like I wasn't gonna deal with him. I'm like, eventually his son would be old enough to be like, okay, like why is my dad always drinking? Like, you know, he wasn't gonna deal with him eventually either.
But I mean, like, I was gonna lose them, but I kind of wanted it, you know, porque I wanted to drink. I didn't want somebody to tell me what to do. But there was just like the little slip of la idea, pues, to get help. Like, lo intenté, you know, like I didn't go in there with good intentions, but I tried it. Like, you know, it wasn't.
You opened up to it.
Yeah, I wasn't closed-minded. Like, no, I'm not gonna get help. Like, fui just to try it, you know, like. Pero no, yo no fui con la intención de cambiar, you know. I was like, I'm gonna try it for her, and that's it, you know, like. So I think maybe it's a little conflicting, like, you know, like I didn't want to lose them. I didn't want to lose them, but at the same time, I did, like.
I understand
because they
what
were
you're
in the
saying.
way
Yeah.
of my drinking.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I get what you're saying. You
Yeah.
know? But obviously, there's obviously people who struggle with this day to day. You know, even now and whatnot. As far as yourself, from the woman perspective, and you know, seeing your partner go through all this, like, what kind of advice do you think you can give someone, as far as like any other woman that's probably going through this, or that knows someone that's going through this? Like, what do you think you could tell them?
To take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else. Whether it's your kids or your loved one or whoever it is that you have in your life that's struggling with addiction, you have to be okay yourself first. And I know I was not okay. Like, I was literally in that hole with him, right next to him. That's how affected I was, and I put myself there because I was the one that continued to be with him and continued to want to be in that relationship like that. And I know that if I took care of myself first, then I would have been able to help him in a different way. And I would have been able to to manage whatever we were going through together as a couple in a different way. So I think just take care of yourself first.
Take care of yourself first.
Le ves que ella dice que, like, she don't know about addiction, like, but it's like también como being a parent, like, you don't go into a relationship not preparing yourself to, like, oh, what if he has an addiction, or like, so
Right.
She had to learn it the hard way. Like,
Do you feel like you should have left?
No, because I feel like I always tell him this, I'm like, I feel like that journey that he went through, it was a journey for both of us. Like, we both had to go through that in order to be the couple that we are now, in order to have the things that we have now. Like, I just think it's something that we needed to go together as a couple. And it's hard to understand that, I think, because who's going to want to put themselves through that, you know? Like, who wants to say, oh yeah, I'm going to live everything that I had talked about. Like, I'm going to put myself through that and then for a better life. But I feel like it's something we had to do together. I don't know. Well, that's just me.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And Jose, bro, for guys that are probably going through this, which I know a few, hopefully they listen to this, what can you tell them, bro?
pues, es que que mucha gente, they want to help. Like, I've had people, like, reach out to me, que me dicen, hey, well, I think I have a problem. I will just tell them, like, try going to an AA meeting. You don't have to go to a rehab. Like, my sister's like, people no pueden because no tienen dinero or their insurance doesn't cover it. Pero tratar de ir a una meeting or... Sí, como a mí me han mandado mensajes de que, hey, I want to do this, pero como que there's that como un miedo que los detiene, you know, like... O sea, a mí todavía when I go to meetings, like, me da miedo ir, like, because I don't know de qué voy a hablar, pero I think if you just try, like, así, just the way I gave myself a chance to go to rehab, be like, because you never know what's going to happen when you walk out of that door back, because así como yo fui and I didn't know what to expect, and yeah, by the 28 days, I'm a different person, you know, like a different mentality. Pero también it won't happen like that to everybody. Like, if you go to get help and it doesn't work, like, keep trying, you know, like, nobody's perfect. The process is not perfect. Like, it's like como los niños, like, you gotta keep trying hasta que pegue, you know, like, I think that's the main thing. Just keep trying, be confident and que you're gonna work through it and just try. That's the main thing.
I know when you got out, bro, you seemed more religious, if that's I guess fair to say. I don't think you ever really were a religious person since I've my 20 plus years of knowing you, and I think coming out of there, you were just had more faith in God. It seems like.
But not religious in general. There is God involved, but it's more for me. It's more like
Spiritual.
Yeah, like como le dicen your
higher power.
In my higher power, yeah. Que there's somebody. Porque te dicen like there's a higher power that does for you what somebody else can do for you, like. And for me, era eso, pues, like, también, like, I tried, me dijeron, pray, just get on your knees, pray, and you'll see the results if you pray con good intentions, you know. It wasn't like, if I stop drinking, or if you get me out of this, I promise I won't do this. No era nada.
Isn't a selfish prayer.
Yeah, like, praying for guidance, más bien. It wasn't, like, praying for a result. And I feel like there's a lot of things a lot of guys go through that, too, que, ya que, man, pistear un chingo, and then the next day, like, ya no va a pistear, or Dios, por favor, ya no me dejas pistear porque se va a enojar mi vieja.
That's typically how it works, right? We pray to God, bro. Like, well, yeah, when those crudas hit.
Yeah, like, it could be like...
For real, bro. No, he just said it, though. He's like, you know what, pistear. God help me, bro. God help me.
But you know what? Whenever you're dealing with that, you are kind of in an emotional state, bro. Because you're going through that withdrawal or whatever it's called, right? So I do feel like that, honestly, bro. Yeah. And my wife probably sees it. She's like, this soft-ass motherfucker.
Pues sí, the older you get, pues, I mean, it's harder to get over the cruda, porque también I was, how old was I? Like, my 31, 30, when I went to rehab. Even, like, whatever I drank, like, the next day, like, fuck, me siento peor. Like, y a huevo tenía que ir a comprarme whatever I needed
the
to.
rest. Now, since Checo brought up, like, the religion, higher power, and spiritual, you often hear, like, that people that are dealing with addictions are battling with certain demons, you know? Like, did you ever feel like you were battling a demon or demons that you...
A demon? No.
Not a demon per se, like, you know what I mean? But,
no,
like,
yeah. But
battling with shit.
I think that the demon is just what you go through in life. Like,
but people would say you'd had a pretty decent life, bro. You know, suburban kid, nice neighborhood, you know.
But no tiene que ser algo drastic or una muerte, porque I've never had, like, a...
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, like dramatic. I think it's just maybe the way I grew up. Eran muchas cosas, a lot of variables that the thing in the other podcast I talked, I have an addictive personality.
Mm-hmm.
Before the podcast, I was talking about anxiety. I think I had anxiety. So cuando iba a tocar, I tenía que tomar. So muchas cositas que se desarrollaron que se acumularon that led me to drink. Porque there's people that tienen alcoholism en la familia que corre. And conmigo yo creo era just that I had a lot of little issues. Y hicieron un avalanche que when I drank and I drink heavily, que ya al último I couldn't control it.
Yeah, snowball effect.
Yeah, so it's like everybody's different, and I think even people's personalities, the way they are because of little things that happened to them, que se lo corrieron, problemas con la novia, maybe something political, religious beliefs, cosas que pasan, que that's how people are. Like, this is if you understand people.
Just builds you like that.
Yeah.
My dad always says that though, bro. That alcoholism, you start off, 1 beer, 2 beers, and then all of a sudden you're getting tipsy, and now from tipsy, now you're always getting drunk, and then before you know it, like it's got a grasp of you, like I'm like, damn. And I always think about that, bro. I mean, it could happen anytime, bro. But I do think about that shit. It's kind of scary,
100%.
I mean, because I enjoy drinking, you know what I mean?
En todo el podcast sí hablamos que they had relapse during the pandemic.
Yeah.
See, we didn't talk about it.
Talking about like what you said about your dad, algo que nunca se me olvidó from going to go visit him at rehab. You get to go visit them, and then you get to hear like it's like an AA meeting, right?
Yeah, alguien no speaker.
Un speaker, so you get to hear somebody talk about like their addiction and how they recovered or whatever, and it's like a family night. So algo que nunca se me olvidó de un señor fue que dijo que an addict, like pretend that he drank for a whole year, and he was like really bad at the end of that year. So he's sober for 2 years. So he decides he wants to drink within that 2 years or whatever. He just out of nowhere wants to drink. So if he picks up that one drink, he starts out where he left off in that last
La peda?
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't start out like slowly. Like he will start, his body already knows like, okay, this is where we left off. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you dig yourself back exactly where you left yourself off. Y eso nunca se me olvidó.
Pues se dicen mucho in the meetings, like if you don't take care of your things, like go to meetings, talk to your sponsor, like muchas cosas. If you stop doing that, like during your sobriety, dicen que your addiction is outside doing push-ups, getting stronger. Like es un dicho que dicen, pero it's
probably
like,
true.
Yeah. I can see that, bro.
Well, I think like when you relapsed that one time, you came home and you're like, I should have kept going to my meetings or something. I think during that time you slowly like started pivoting off from the meetings or whatever.
Porque I was like at a point in que
the confidence point, I think.
Yeah, like I was talking to my sponsor and I was like, yeah, because there's steps you gotta do. Yeah, I was at one of the biggest steps, and then the pandemic hit. I couldn't meet with anybody. The meetings were getting shut down, and I had problems at work, and it was a lot of things. Like, también it was a perfect storm, but también it happens, like, and it could have been preventable. También si yo le había echado de mi parte, pero es todo. It's not like what do you call it? Like que uno quiera. Like it's the power of the prayer. Pues que you ask for that guidance, and once you stop doing that, pues ya like you're back to, como dicen, back to zero.
Yeah. And when you were saying now that you had work problems, whatever, just everyday life, and that's where so that's where I call my demons.
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily have to be anything big. Yeah, but I think everybody deals with quote unquote demons every day.
Those were my demons.
Like, it doesn't have to be. Issues. Yeah. So I get what you mean, like as far as like demons, but and again, it would be more so like just your everyday life. I call those demons, right? Yeah. Everybody deals with demons. That's what I consider. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna wrap this up. We already did our hour, and I just want to thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. Thank you, both of you guys.
For sure.
This is definitely a topic that we can always keep revisiting. Just because we talked about it one time doesn't mean it's one and done. Yeah. I think people need to hear this because you might hear this one pod and then it's like then after 2-3 months you kind of forget about it and you go back to the same thing, back to the routine, pedas, whatever, and I just feel it's always good to refreshing, these type of topics.
And like just how they have AA meetings, there's also meetings for family members. So I think it's Al-Anon. So like
Where's that at?
somebody is
You gotta look it up. I don't know, like,
yeah.
but they're very there's few of those. They're
They're,
not.
like they're more for like the families that are struggling through. They have a loved one that's going through addiction, so it's just help for them.
It's como AA lo hizo un alcoholic. He made this group. His wife made Al-Anon to help women of recovering alcoholics. So, pero es casi lo mismo.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if anybody.
Pero I've had people reach out to me and missus and didn't pull the trigger and always there.
So they can always reach out to you.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
for advice and
if they
whatnot.
see it, doesn't hurt to try a meeting.
100%. I think that we're done. You all right? we did a double take. Like, wait, are we?
No, for sure.
I hate asking now. Like, you got,
Nah.
that's how I'm like, wait.
I always have
Are you
something,
looking
bro.
at me? Because you're looking at me. Okay, but
No,
I'm like,
I was waiting on you. I always have something more, bro. But I think we're good,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, for watching. This is Compas Unfiltered. Estamos para la otra.
Peace.
Deuces.
Amen.